When we've reached our limits of adulting, it's easy to long for simpler times, like enjoying Saturday morning cartoons without a care in the world, or savoring every last drop of sugary milk at the bottom of your cereal bowl. Well, Kachava's new Cinnamon French Toast all-in-one nutrition shake gives you all the nostalgic feels and benefits. Made with real cinnamon bark for the richest, deepest, most authentic flavor. Just 2 scoops provide the complete nutrition your body craves with protein, fiber, greens, and more. It's an easy upgrade to your daily wellness ritual. No fillers, no nonsense. Just the highest quality ingredients that taste delicious. Adulting may not always be fun, but at least you can stock up on treats without asking your parents for permission. So whether you're kickstarting your morning or fueling your afternoon, treat yourself to a sip of nostalgia. Go to Kachava.com and use code NEWS for 15% off your first order. That's Kachava, Kachava.com, code NEWS.
It was the morning of April 18th, 1980, when 2 fishermen arrived along the North Canadian River near Jones, Oklahoma, about 20 miles east of Oklahoma City. They parked their car and began walking toward the water, hoping to spend the morning fishing. But as they reached the riverbank, they noticed something unusual lying on the ground. At first, it looked almost like some kind of sand sculpture. But as the 2 men moved closer, they realized it wasn't a sculpture at all. It was the nude body of a young woman. The fishermen immediately contacted the Oklahoma County Sheriff's Office. And when deputies arrived, they discovered that the woman's body had been completely covered in quicklime, a chemical compound called calcium oxide. For years, there's been this common belief that lime will cause a body to decompose faster. So whoever left this woman beside the river may have believed it would destroy her remains, eliminate any forensic evidence, and make it nearly impossible for investigators to identify her. But it actually had the exact opposite effect. The moisture from the woman's body, combined with the damp environment near the river, caused the lime to harden around her remains. So instead of destroying her body, it helped dry out and preserve it, almost like a form of mummification. So in other words, in trying to erase the evidence, the person responsible may have actually helped preserve it. Investigators could tell that the victim was a young white woman, probably somewhere between 18 and 25 years old. But she wasn't carrying a purse, a wallet, or any form of identification. She had also been stripped of all her clothing, which raised even more questions. Had her clothing been removed because it contained evidence that could connect her to her killer? Were there labels, jewelry, or personal belongings that could reveal where she had come from? Or had the killer simply removed everything in an attempt to make identifying her as difficult as possible? An autopsy revealed that the woman had been shot 3 times in the chest with a .45 caliber handgun. 2 of the bullets passed completely through her body, while the third remained lodged inside her chest cavity. And that third bullet revealed something else really interesting. Before entering the right side of her chest, the bullet had apparently struck a dime inside the front pocket of her shirt, and the force of the gunshot drove both the dime and pieces of the shirt's fabric into her body. So even though the woman had been found completely nude, investigators now had physical evidence that she had been clothed when she was shot. The direction of the wounds also suggested that she had been standing upright and facing her killer. They even believed the shooter may have been walking toward her as the shots were fired. But despite everything the autopsy revealed, it couldn't answer the most basic question of all. Who was she? Her fingerprints were compared with the records available at the time, but no match was found. Investigators released sketches and descriptions of her to the public, hoping someone would recognize her freckles or the small heart-shaped tattoo above her left breast. But no one came forward. As the weeks turned into months and then years, investigators began to wonder whether the woman had any connection to Oklahoma at all. Maybe she had only been passing through when she was killed. If that was true, the people who knew her could have been living hundreds or even thousands of miles away. Without her name, investigators couldn't trace her final movements. They couldn't interview her family or determine who had last seen her alive. They couldn't identify anyone who may have had a reason to kill her. They didn't even know whether someone had reported her missing. The woman eventually became known as the Lime Lady. That nickname helped keep her case in the public eye, but it also reduced her to the circumstances in which her body had been found. People knew about the lime. They knew about the unusual crime scene. But they knew nothing about the actual woman underneath it. She had a real name. She had a family, relationships, and an entire life before someone left her along that riverbank. But for decades, all of that remained a mystery. Then, in 2007, Captain Bob Green of the Oklahoma County Sheriff's Office inherited the case. Green kept returning to the evidence, hoping that advances in forensic technology might finally provide the opportunity earlier investigators never had. So he worked with the medical examiner's office and submitted a preserved blood sample for DNA testing. But once again, there were no matches. Then, in September 2018, Green contacted a nonprofit organization called the DNA Doe Project. Samples collected during the original investigation had survived for almost 40 years. If specialists could produce a detailed enough profile, volunteer genealogists could upload it to public databases, search for distant genetic relatives, and begin building family trees. Obtaining usable DNA wasn't easy, but eventually the team succeeded. And once the Lime Lady's profile was uploaded, genealogists found a second cousin once removed, along with several more distant relatives on both sides of her family. It wasn't a very close match, but it was enough. After nearly 40 years of unsuccessful searches, genealogists developed a possible name in less than a day and a half. And when investigators finally learned who the Lime Lady was, they uncovered a story even stranger than the one they had spent decades trying to solve. She was a young Army veteran who had disappeared from Las Vegas more than 1,000 miles away. Her body had been discovered on what would have been her 21st birthday. And although her family had reported her missing, that report had later been removed after another woman appeared in Ohio claiming to be her. Who was that woman? How had she obtained the victim's identity? Did she know the young woman was already dead? And how did a missing woman from Las Vegas end up shot 3 times and covered in lime along an Oklahoma riverbank? Those questions remain unanswered. The full story of the woman once known only as the Lime Lady is available right now as this month's full-length bonus episode of Forensic Tales. To hear the complete episode and learn her real name, where she came from, and the bizarre reason investigators failed to connect her to an active missing person case, join us at patreon.com/forensictales. As a member, you'll receive a new full-length bonus episode every month, early ad-free access to regular episodes, exclusive Forensic Tales merchandise, and even more behind-the-scenes content. You can also listen to the bonus episode by subscribing directly through Apple Podcasts. Head to patreon.com/forensictales or subscribe on Apple Podcasts today to hear the complete story of the Lime Lady.
Meet Keith, loving dad, board game champ, bus driving pro.
I drive 65,000 miles in my bus each year. If people knew what I know, lives could be saved. Like how there are some things I simply can't see. On my route the other day, a car tried to sneak past me and ends up right in my blind spot. I turned slowly, so accident avoided. But no car should be in the blind spot for a 40,000-pound bus. It's our roads. It's our safety.
Visit www.sharetheroadsafely.gov.
If you like the show, please take a moment to rate, review, and subscribe. It really does help the show to grow. Thank you for listening.